you. Okay, so I thought since there's so many of us here, and so many of us are Gary Lunn's constituents, I thought we would take this opportunity to leave him a little message. Sending in tweets. There are thousands now from across Canada. So if you want to make your voice heard, send a text to this number, 347-614-2765, and add your voice to the chorus across Canada. Now, I'm very pleased to have Jamie Bigger here, who's a member of the Canadian Youth Delegation to Copenhagen and the chair of the Sierra Club of BC. Hi everyone. So the organizers today asked me to come and to speak to the fact that while Stephen Harper's proroguing Parliament, we are in a time of consequence. We are in a time where decisions need to be made. We are in a time where we need to see leadership.
Yeah! Yes!
When I went to Copenhagen with the Canadian Youth Delegation, 35 youth from all around Canada, we knew that we were going there with the Canadian people at our back. We knew that the majority of Canadians wanted climate leadership. They voted for it in 2008. They showed it again and again in public opinion polls all through 2009. And over the course of the fall of 2009, they started turning out in huge numbers to phone their MPs, to get in touch with their people in Parliament and to say, we want success at Copenhagen. Yeah. I also knew that our Conservative government was dead set against it. What I want to tell you about was the darkest night at Copenhagen. The darkest night. It was on the Monday of the second week. What we found out that night, the CBC reported that not only was the Conservative government having come to Copenhagen with terribly unambitious targets that would commit us to runaway global warming. Not only were they making us look terrible into the eyes of the world, but they were lying even about that it was their secret plan to weaken their targets even further, that it was their secret plan to give the tar sands further breaks. That was a night of tears and anger. Because what we realized when we were sitting there in our hostel, all 35 of us, what we realized was that our government, this went beyond normal bad politics. This went beyond bad decision making. Our government was breaking the social contract. The social contract, in exchange for giving our government authority over us, they must be responsible to us and for us. They must be responsible to be honest to us. They must be responsible for democratic process, and they also must be responsible for us. They must be responsible for protecting us from harm. That is the most basic responsibility of government. It's why we give them our authority. And what I realized that night, what we realized, was that this was not simply about policy disagreements. They were knowingly coming to Copenhagen to commit Canadians, and Canadian youth in particular, to runaway global warming, and they knew it. That was their choice. That was what they wanted, and then they were going to lie to our faces about it.
Harper change, not climate change!
I like that. Harper change, not climate change. That's a good one. That's going to make it on a sign. Next rally, yeah. Okay, so that was the darkest night. About a week later, I hear that he's going to prorogue. I hear that he's announcing, or 2 weeks later, I hear that he's announcing the prorogation of Parliament, and I thought, well, that's just typical. Yep. That's just another step further in breaking our social contract.
Yeah.
And somebody said to me, because I've done some Facebook activism, they said, you know, we should start a group. And I said, no. I don't think, you know what, I don't think Canadians are going to care that much about this. I don't think it's going going to happen. I just, it's a process issue. I don't know. So, I didn't predict that this group would take off in the way it has. I didn't predict that there'd be thousands of people here today. I don't think really anybody did. It was an act of faith in Canadians, an act of faith in the Canadian citizenry, in our willingness to rise up. Today, from the darkest night in Copenhagen, today for me is a new day. It's a new beginning in Canada. It's a time when we can go out and repair our social contract. It's a time where we can not only achieve a flourishing of democracy in Canada, but we can rise to the challenges that the time presents us with. We can solve real problems. I have 3 questions for you. First question, are Canadians ready for real democracy? Yeah! Second question, are Canadians ready to rise to the challenge of global warming? Yeah! Third question, are Canadians ready to be a force for good in the world again? Yeah! Yeah, you are. So I'll say this then. The last thing I'll say is this. On this new day in Canada, I have never been so ashamed of my government, but so proud of my fellow citizens.
There are other candidates running in that election as well, but I think his message is important. You need to come out and volunteer for the candidates that you support to get rid of the MP who doesn't seem to be anywhere for his people. It's been said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all the rest. But you know what? I look at this crowd today and at 60 other rallies across this country, and I'm not so sure anymore. See, democracy isn't about voting. It's not about turnout at election day. It's an idea. And when I see this crowd, I know that idea is still alive. We have one last winner of the contest we had. We asked people to send in what they would like to say to Stephen Harper, if they had a chance to. And Melissa Ferris, who I'd also like to recognize as one of the people that has slaved tirelessly this past couple weeks.
I don't really need the microphone, but just for fun. There are people who said our protest was silly. There was people who said what we do today won't matter. Those people were wrong. Well, voters across the country rally together today, even if Stephen Harper doesn't listen. Other MPs are listening, and more importantly, other voters are listening. Look around you. People will rise up, and Canadians do care. The message I want to send today is this. The time for change is now. The time to once again challenge our leaders to be leaders. In the Canada that I believe in, we will never again sit idly by while our government ignores accountability and transparency. We will never again sit idly by while our government sanctions atrocities on the world stage. We will never again ignore our rights and duty to vote for what we believe in. Democracy is ours. Freedom and liberties are ours. Let's make that worth something. This abuse of power is a wake-up call to us all. We are a country who has lost amazing young women and men in the line of duty, supporting a cause that they believe will bring about positive change in the world. They've lost their lives and sacrificed their families for something they believe to be true, and we have to do our part as well. So I stand strong with you today and say never again will I just ignore my rights and responsibilities to stand up for Canada. Who's willing to say it with me?
This